What is up, my fellow mobile gamers? In today's video we are talking about the difference between mobile gaming, PC console gaming,
which is a very interesting discussion, honestly. There's a ton of huge differences between the platforms because of the hardware the games are hosted on. Every platform has its own pros and cons. Many of those simply come from the different ways the developers have to adjust their creative vision, be it because of hardware limitations or market expectations, but this is a really interesting discussion. Unless there's a corporate shill among us.
the player base difference, all that stuff. Happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there.
Well, I'm not a father, but I am about to be your dad.
So the biggest reason this has come up is because of Diablo Immortal. A lot of PC console players playing Diablo Immortal, not understanding the mobile gaming tactics and stuff around it.
Oh, they just don't understand it. It's not that Diablo Immortal is a vile piece of corporate garbage meant to weasel money out of you. PC and console players just don't understand it. It's not that this game is blatantly predatory and fans are rightfully furious that such a beloved franchise and such a passionate community is being treated with such disrespect. It's just that we don't understand it. And we're not even 30 seconds into this video.
I'm about to blow my fucking brains out!
The biggest difference, mobile gaming is free to play.
Because there are no free-to-play games on console or PC. None at all. None at all. Diablo Immortal is excused because it's free to play. I really hope this isn't your argument.
Because you initially download the game and you can decide whether you want to spend money in the game.
Wow, it is your argument. Okay. I never thought I'd have to explain this to someone, but here we go, I guess. Free-to-play games are getting more and more popular because of how consumer-friendly they can be. Games like Apex Legends, Fortnite, Warzone, totally free to play, and you can play them forever without spending a single cent if that's what you choose to do. There is no way to buy an advantage, and if you are a passionate player or even just a casual fan, there are plenty of cosmetic things that you can spend money on to make your character look more cool and personable. You see, when you don't have to pay an admission fee to a game, you're more likely to spend money on it post-launch. I know I am. I can probably count on one hand the number of times I've spent money on cosmetics in a game that I had to pay for. I think Overwatch is actually the only game where I've ever done that. I've bought my fair share of Overwatch loot boxes. But other than that, the only games where I've ever bought microtransactions are the free-to-play ones with cosmetic-only skins. When the game is free to play and the business model is fair, people don't feel like they're being pressured into spending money. And that makes them more likely to do that. For the exact same reason that games like Diablo Immortal and EA's Dungeon Keeper and the original version of Battlefront 2 were ripped apart. They're aggressively monetized, and those who spend money have an immediate and distinct gameplay advantage over those who have not. At that point, I have trouble even calling them video games because the word game implies some kind of competition or goal to be achieved. But if you can just pay your way to the top, I legitimately have trouble calling it a game in good conscience. It's more akin to a digital art gallery at that point. But the reason I'm going on this long rant is because in 2022, there is absolutely no excuse for a game like Diablo Immortal to exist. And the fact that you're defending it with the free-to-play business model is borderline insulting. What are the biggest games in the world right now? Counter-Strike? Dota? Fortnite? Warzone? Apex? League of Legends? Every single one of those games are free to play and have a consumer-friendly business model. When people criticize these games, 99.9% of the time, they're talking about the gameplay, not the business model, because the gameplay and the business are separate from one another. The industry has reached a point where free-to-play games are expected to have a very clear border separating the gameplay and the business model. Diablo Immortal has grossly violated this, and it all comes after the game was literally revealed with that now infamous backhanded insult to a fan who simply didn't want this.
Just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
This game was like a fucking Skillshare course on how not to satisfy your customers. But tell me more about how PC and console players just don't understand it. You condescending snot rag.
Or not. So, and I've done this tons of times where I've downloaded a new mobile game and I didn't like it and I just uninstalled it, deleted it. That's it.
Congratulations, you figured out why free-to-play games are popular. It's really easy for people to try them because there's no monetary commitment. But then along comes a free-to-play game like Diablo Immortal where there essentially is a monetary commitment. I wonder why people aren't taking to this game very well.
Didn't cost me any money. Whereas for console, PC players, you don't really get to try a game out necessarily. Sometimes there are demos occasionally, but really you're gambling $60-70 on the game, and then you don't like it. You know, you're kind of stuck with it. You try and resell it. Good luck.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. Quick question. How many muscles have you torn with your mental gymnastics? If you boot up the PlayStation Store or Xbox Store or the front page of Steam, you will be immediately presented with free-to-play games. Immediately. How is it possible that in 2022, you don't know games like Fortnite and Apex and fucking League of Legends exist? Fuck, even Blizzard themselves have free-to-play options. StarCraft 2, free-to-play. I'm pretty sure WoW is still free to play up to a certain point, or at least WoW Classic should be. I put some hours into WoW Classic last year, I never spent a dime. And then you go over to Steam and it's practically screaming at you to try free to play games, because the most popular games on the platform are free to play. Do you only play mobile games? Like, do you genuinely only play and follow the mobile market? How is this possible?
You know, there are stuff like Steam. If you buy it on Steam, you can get like a refund if you don't play it that long within a certain amount of time. There are some things like that, but overall, you're really gambling when you're playing on PC console, specifically for like Battlefield, that new Battlefield game that came out, you know.
So Diablo Immortal is okay because Battlefield.
That doesn't make sense.
That was one of the big ones where people spent money on it and the game was an absolute dumpster fire.
So it's okay to criticize Battlefield for being a mechanically broken mess, but it's not okay to criticize Diablo for being a monetarily broken mess. Because we just don't understand it. Nice. Sick argument.
Same thing with Cyberpunk. A lot of people spent money on Cyberpunk, very hyped up game, and they wasted money on it. It ended up not, you know, being full of bugs and stuff like that.
You keep bringing up PC and console games with a price tag and using it as evidence for your claim that there are no free-to-play games on console or PC, which just doesn't make any sense. You can say what you want about Cyberpunk and Battlefield. I'm not defending those games by any means, but this is such a backwards argument, it doesn't even make sense. There are plenty of broken, buggy games that launch on mobile devices. There are plenty of mobile games that require you to pay upfront for it, and then they aren't even good. To suggest this is a console or PC exclusive issue is just damage control for Diablo.
But mobile games full of bugs or something, you can just walk away. You don't gotta spend any money.
You know, like a free-to-play game.
You know, that's one of the biggest differences, is that these mobile game companies have to compete with that.
Right, that's why mobile game ads are usually extremely misleading and sensationalized. It's almost like every gaming platform has the potential for dishonesty. You present this like it's a good thing too. I don't understand this at all.
They can't advertise directly to people in a way that they know they're going to immediately spend money to try the game.
You know, like a free-to-play game.
Right? So you can try the game, see for yourself if you like it or not, and then just install it and move on. You don't have to spend money. Whereas console games, you have to spend money. If you want to play that game, if you want to play that new Diablo 4 game, you got to spend money, or, you know, people go and they watch streamers. That's the culture that we've evolved into, where people don't even buy games anymore. They just watch other people play games.
Little ironic coming from a gaming YouTuber, but this doesn't even hold up. If I want to play a game with the price tag, yeah, I have to pay the price. Sometimes there are other options like subscription services or trial periods, but yeah, if a game has a price tag, it's usually going to require money to play it. But it's also going to be held to a higher standard than a free-to-play title.
But overall, if you want to have that experience personal with you actually doing it, you have to spend money. Now, mobile games were designed to reach a broader audience, mostly casuals.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Now, this isn't to say that there aren't hardcore gamers who play mobile games, but the top notch for mobile gaming, the main focus is to get casual players. And the biggest way you'll notice this is from all of those like false advertising for mobile games you'll see.
Little late to start getting honest about this. You've kind of already played your hand here.
You'll see a lot of it where they'll put like random people who you clearly know they've never played a game in their life, and they have them in these ads, and you'll see it on YouTube and stuff, where you'll have like a family and they'll be playing some gacha game, or they'll be playing something, And you know, it's real cheesy, but it's made to catch casuals.
Which is part of the reason free-to-play games are so popular on console and PC. Casual players are extremely likely to play a game if there is no price tag, especially when the advertisements make it look like anyone could enjoy it. Shit, even if there is a price tag, appealing to casuals is a really good way to get people trying your game, or at least getting them interested in trying it. Now, does that mean it's going to be a long-term success? Absolutely not. And that's where the industry is kind of starting to correct itself. There's been a long trend of games being simplified to make them more marketable to the casuals, but when you specifically design your game around appealing to people who you know aren't super passionate gamers, you kind of shoot yourself in the foot for long-term success. Because people aren't going to play the game for very long, and it's less likely that people are going to get as invested or passionate about it. Granted, some casual games have been extremely successful in the long term. I'm not at all saying it's impossible. But anyone who has been part of this industry for more than 3 to 4 years, which is a demographic I guess doesn't include you, you'll agree with me when I say the rampant simplification of games has been pretty counterproductive. Deeper game mechanics are thrown out as being too hard. Things like strict skill-based matchmaking are implemented so the game doesn't get too oppressive. And then you have the whole mobile gaming market that pushes ads like all the ridiculous animated ones with the fucking boobs and thighs just to get people to download it. Spend some money on microtransactions in the short term, and then walk away from it. These are cheap games meant to increase profits as fast as possible, instead of actually creating something worthwhile that people will continue to talk about for years to come. This is the biggest issue a lot of console and PC gamers have with the mobile gaming industry. It's all about short-term profits. And obviously there are some great mobile games out there, but there is so much garbage, profit-driven nonsense, far more than the console and PC marketplace. Because these demographics simply have higher standards, and there are vast differences in the hardware that you're playing on, but we'll talk about that more extensively in a minute. The mobile marketplace is relatively new, and since everyone has a phone at all times, developers are doing everything they can to market to people who might not have played the game if it were on console or PC, as opposed to actually making a good game with timeless mechanics. Sorry, I'm rambling a lot in this video. This one was really hard to get through, and we're not even 4 minutes in. Like, I don't know how long my video is at this point, but I'm only 3 minutes and 40 seconds into his.
That's what mobile gaming is all about, is the fact that it can reach a broader audience, whereas for PC and console gaming, you have to physically buy, a PlayStation, an Xbox. You have to own that console before you can even play these games.
I mean, decent point with the console, but almost everyone owns a computer. Like, you'll be hard-pressed to find somebody who doesn't have a computer. Casual PC games exist. They're very popular, and they can run on usually, like, any hardware. So, kind of irrelevant. Assuming you know literally anything about this industry outside of your little mobile shill bubble.
So, you're not buying a console unless you're a gamer. You know, you're not Joe Schmo over here who's never played a video game in their life buying a console.
Yes, decent point that mobile devices kind of have a built-in casual gaming audience because it's such a simple thing to download a game that looks interesting. But that brings us back to everything I said a minute ago about the false advertising and the short-term profit-driven game design. Do you really think that's what's best for the industry? Do you really think that's something we should be encouraging?
But everyone has phones.
Oh, trust me, Blizzard is fully aware we all have phones. They were betting on it.
Current plan is to be on mobile, both Android and iOS. We don't have any plans at the moment to do PC. Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
The absolute embodiment of a company out of touch with its consumers. Never let Blizzard forget this interaction happened.
You know, majority. The more that time evolves and life evolves, the more people have phones and accessibility like that.
You talk about life evolving and whatnot, but the gaming industry has largely gone backwards in recent years, and a lot of it is directly because of the rise of mobile gaming. Companies rush out crappy mobile games for profit, they succeed in making money, and then other companies on other platforms try to translate that model elsewhere. Yes, some really good things have come from that, like the rise of actually fair free-to-play business models. But tons of other horrible things have come from it as well. I truly believe this fascination with short-term profit directly led to the uptick in rushed-out buggy games with popular franchises attached to them. I truly believe it also led to the rise in in-game cosmetic stores for games that truly do not need one. And I'm absolutely positive that mobile gaming directly led to the introduction of things like paid time savers or XP boosts in full-priced games. I'm not even close to being the only one who believes these things, and I can tell you in extensive detail why, but that's a video for another day because this one is already kind of long. So quit defending all of this. Open your eyes for 5 seconds and look around the industry. The very things you're defending and trying to positively spin are the same things that are pissing so many longtime gamers off. Get real.
And that's what really drives the deciding factor that makes it different, is that mobile games, and this is kind of a crappy way to put it.
Well, if there's a king of putting things in a really crappy way, I think we're looking at him.
But mobile games aren't held to the same standards that a PC or console game is.
Wow, what a revelation. Thank you for enlightening me. Truly a man of intellect you are.
And it also has to do with the fact that you're paying money up front. You know, you're paying for it. You're not able to try it out. You're not getting to play the whole experience for free. The hardest way to put it, even though mobile games, there are a lot of things that you can't really experience unless you pay money, but you kind of get what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're saying some of the dumbest things I've ever heard. You just said mobile games are held to different standards than PC and console games because you have to spend money in the latter in order to play it. But then you immediately said a lot of mobile games require money from you to experience them. So, what?
And it's just how it is. It's really a business down to say the least. Everything is a business. Mobile gaming is a business. The gaming industry is a business.
Don't even try to act like you know anything about the gaming industry when it's painfully clear you don't.
The other biggest factor is that mobile games aren't made for people to grind.
Mobile games aren't made to grind? Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, I thought you didn't know anything about PC or console gaming, but do you know anything about mobile gaming either? You're literally playing a grindy mobile game in the background of this video.
And this again has to go with mobile games being more towards casuals, although mobile gaming has definitely evolved and it seems to continue to evolve as time goes on.
Which is weird because it really seems to be getting worse. Also, casual games and grindable games are not mutually exclusive. Like, you can have both at the same time. I really don't know what you're trying to say here.
Whereas that's why there's like these hard limits on things. There's like the energy and stamina and things that limit your progression day to day, because again it's free. You're not paying any money initially. You're getting to play this game for free.
Okay, how long do I get to play it without being forced to pay? Or pushed to pay? Or heavily encouraged to pay? Or given distinct advantages if I do pay? You're talking like mobile games are all like Fortnite or Apex, where the gameplay is completely distinct from the monetization, but anyone with a functioning brain can see this is bullshit. The gameplay and monetization are blatantly linked together in countless mobile games. That's the whole issue.
And they use these tactics to, again, it's just straight up to just make money. But as a mobile gamer and then a PC player, console player, that just don't understand that, like, you're trained in a certain way. These people are trained in a way to where it's looked at as being normal to them.
Wow, okay, so not only do we not understand mobile gaming, we've been trained to not like it. Bro, you're talking like a fucking Biden staffer. It's not that there's a problem, guys. It's just the way you've been doing things has trained you to not like it. You don't actually dislike this, you've just been duped into thinking you do. Now give me money.
It would be the same as if you had a rich person and a poor person, and they met each other. The rich person would be used to the lavish living, whereas the poor person is used to a poor living.
Because people's economic backgrounds are the deciding factor of whether or not they can understand when they're being taken advantage of. Is that seriously what you're saying here? I want to point out that this dude has almost 7,000 subscribers.
Mobile gamers are used to having to spend money to progress further in games, to progress faster, pay to win.
Oh, they're used to it. In that case, carry on.
Whereas console players and PC players are used to spending hours upon hours, 12 hours a day grinding over and over, because that company already got their $60 or $70 up front without them really knowing if they wanted to play the game or not, if it was good or not.
Holy shit. Holy shit. I could be wrong here, although I don't think I am. But it sounds like you are actually implying a pay-to-win game, by your own admission, a pay-to-win game, is somehow equivalent to a full-price one, simply because you don't have to pay the admission fee. You're not explicitly saying this, but anyone paying any amount of attention can read between the lines here. You are suggesting a pay-to-win game is on the same ground as a full-priced one. I don't really know what to say.
Whereas mobile games, like I said, you can play it and it's a gamble for the developer. They don't know if you're going to like it or not. You know, a lot of people, you can, like I said, you can download a game and then you can just kind of move on. And that's one of the biggest things with mobile gaming is there's a very high turnaround rate.
I believe the term you're looking for is return on investment.
Where you'll notice that people will play a new mobile game, it'll come out and they'll play it for maybe like 2 or 3 weeks, and then they'll stop, and maybe another new mobile game will come out, and then everyone jumps to that.
So by your own admission, these games are designed for short-term gain. Great, now we're getting somewhere, even if you don't seem to realize it.
And there's this pattern in mobile gaming where people go from game to game to game, and it's like the new flavor of the week.
Unless, of course, a mobile game comes out that's designed for long-term enjoyment, of which there are a number of examples.
Whereas console PC games, it's not like that because, like I said, you're paying money up front.
Apparently, console and PC players don't play a lot of games. Okay, news to me. Granted, you also don't seem to think Game Pass or free-to-play games exist on this platform, so I don't know what the fuck I'm doing anymore.
So you really gotta make your choices properly. You don't want to just go around buying every game unless you have money like that. You're buying stuff that you expect you're going to like, but then you can be disappointed. And it's happened to me. I can't tell you how many times.
I mean, I kind of need you to tell us how many times, because you've wasted 8.5 minutes of my life so far without presenting a single legitimate point in defense of Diablo Immortal or mobile gaming in general, which I thought was the whole point of this video.
I went ahead and I bought a game for $60 or $70 and I played it for maybe a week, and I was like, I really didn't like it. I thought I was gonna like it and I didn't.
Okay, did you watch gameplay videos beforehand? Did you check reviews? Did you actually inform yourself of your own buying decision, or did you just look at the box and hand over $60? Because based on everything you've said in this video, I kind of think that's what you did.
And then you're left trying to, sell it on eBay or something to get like half your money back or whatever it may be.
I truly do not think you've ever played a non-mobile game. Or at least you've never actually tried to enjoy one.
It can initially be hard for these mobile games to profit. And it's in a weird way. It's hard to say because mobile games don't cost a lot of money to produce. They're definitely a lot cheaper to make. They're a lot easier to make. But because of that, they're also updated a lot more frequently than, say, like a PC or console game.
Yeah, I'm gonna bow out of this one. This was just fucking painful, and we're not gonna get anywhere. There's still 4 more minutes of his video, believe it or not. I only got about 9 minutes in before I had to tap out because this is just too much. This might actually be one of the worst things I've ever watched, and it astonishes me that you've gotten really no real criticism for this in your comments. Perhaps you're just preaching to the choir, and I can't really blame you for doing that, but you're actively equating pay-to-win games with something like Skyrim or fucking The Witcher. I just can't let this slide, especially after you talk about how there aren't any free-to-play console or PC games, which is just patently false. I wish you the best in your YouTube endeavors, I really do, but this is one of the worst things I've ever watched, and I truly mean that. You simply are not capable of defending your platform. Perhaps that means your platform is flawed. Toodles.